Slam poetry.
He doesn't care if it's perfect.
It's time to slam now.
Here I go again on my own.
Oh, you thought? Welcome to I Think Therefore I Slam, the solo stories behind the slam. It's Andrew Rogerson here, and if you've been listening for a while, you kind of know what the deal is with these, I guess, solo, more chill, more hangout kind of episodes. But if you're not familiar, basically I'm going to share a piece of my own spoken word poetry. I'm going to tell some stories around the creation of the piece, and then I'm going to share it again. It's pretty simple. It's kind of like a start of the week poetry top-up. So thank you for letting me be a part of your week or your day or whatever you're doing. I hope you get as much enjoyment out of hearing it as I do from performing these pieces to you, and of coming out of the shadows a little bit more to show you my own work. Today's piece is really all about tribes, I would say. It's all about that sometimes wonderful, sometimes terrible thing that happens when people get together and they make something happen. So it's called For Some, and here it is. They say teamwork makes the dream work, and DreamWorks made Shrek, so I guess there's more than one layer to that one. There's no I in team, but there is te amo. We're a different caliber, so I'm keeping love in the chamber for anyone who steps to us. Us. It's the biggest team there is. Your birth was your hazing, first cries like September at the G. 8 billion of us, and we're still playing dumb with Dunbar's number, thinking OxyContin is only for when we feel foxy with those in our proxy. Together, everyone achieves more, rolls up their sleeves, a blood drive for the oxygen thieves. Little jokes, yeah. Little monikers. Little chisels carving us into them. Sometimes us is Doctors Without Borders. Sometimes us is Auschwitz. I miss us. I miss having people's backs. Stacking these vertebraes like Acropolis columns, now I lurk in apocalypse forums. I miss combo moves and combo meals and people having my heart. Why, aorta, you used to walk around outside me like a one-up. Now I sum up being lured into the sewer of suspicion, my refuge of refuse, my quagmire. I will not be coaxed out of my shell-shocked seance by just anyone. But if the lines on your hands point true north, if your brailled face reads, figuring it out, maybe we can share a slice of life. Bing, bang, boom, there it is. For some, hope you enjoyed. Let's have a chat. Let's have a big old debrief, shall we? I always like to start with the name of the poem. So this poem came out of a little creative practice that I was doing for a very short while, and which I may return to, which is that I was playing a little bit of PS5 on my weekends. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I played a game and then maybe when I finished it, I would try and write a spoken word piece inspired by like one word that would sum up the feel or the theme of the game. So I did make a small amount of poems from this. And this particular poem came after playing a game called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. So to give you an idea of what this is, it's a arcade-style, 4-player, beat-em-up side-scroller. I don't know if you remember the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle arcade game, maybe the Simpsons arcade game, maybe Streets of Rage. That's just a couple of examples. Really fun game, great to play with friends, and quite short, can be done in an afternoon. This is why there's some weird references in the poem that might get you thinking, why does this sound like he's talking about the Ninja Turtles? I mean, I talk about being shell-shocked. I talk about my heart walking around outside of me like a one-up, as in when you would like pick up a life in a game. I talk about sharing a slice of life, like a slice of pizza, which is their favorite food. So yeah, just a few there. I tried not to go overboard with the references, but you know how much I love them. I'm just all about playing with language. And obviously the title is a play on the words foursome. as in for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but also for some, as in for some and not for all. I wanted to make a poem that was about teamwork. And this poem turned into this reflection of, like I said, the good and the bad that can come from the fact that we're highly social creatures. And we love having an in-group. You know, we love being part of an in-group. We love defining different in-groups, ranking things. I love a good listicle. You know, I'm sure you do too. I wrote this poem after I was meant to go on a bushwalk with a group up in the Dandenongs. And I actually went to the wrong gardens that we were meant to meet at. There's so many gardens up there, you know, they're all lovely, but I did go to the wrong one. So I'm in the heart of the wrong gardens, running around looking for the group. I was already severely late, like half an hour, and I ended up calling the group lead and saying, "Where are you?" And when I found out I was in completely the wrong place, I could have gone back to my car and driven up the road, but at that point, I just accepted it and thought, okay, I'm just going to make the most of my time. So I sat down on a bench and either started or finished polishing off this poem. Sometimes you just got to make the best of whatever cock-up you've done. And that was what I was trying to do. One of the hardest lines in the poem that I've tried to make work in the piece is, you know, I'm talking about different things about teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work. And I say there's no I in team, but there is te amo. And what I'm trying to do is kind of one of these triple plays on words. So te amo, of course, means I love you. But of course, it also contains T-E space A-M and then the O. So it's actually got the letters of team in it. And also I'm trying to use it as a jump off point for the word ammo and talking about keeping love in the chamber or keeping one in the chamber for anyone who steps to us. It's a bit clunky as a line. I'm not sure if I need to kind of redo it, but it's there. And if you're wondering what the hell I was grasping for with all that, that's where it is. Sometimes when I'm performing this live, I'll repeat the word ammo just to kind of make it more clear what I'm doing. Again, not 100% sure whether it's effective, but it is what it is. I want to zoom forward and clear up something for my non-Australian or non-Melbourne listeners. I talk about us being the biggest team there is. Your birth was your hazing, first cries like September at the G. So if you're not from Melbourne, the absolute biggest sporting event on the calendar is the Australian Football League's Grand Final, which is in September or October of each year. The final itself is at the Melbourne Cricket Ground, also known as the MCG, or just the G for short. And when I say it's the biggest event, I'm talking 100,000 plus people. So it's extremely loud. Some of the biggest crowds I've ever been a part of in my life have been at the MCG during that time of year. So I'm just trying to get across the scale of what the sound of a huge event like that would sound like. So I hope that clears up any confusion there. Now, I make reference to Dunbar's number a bit later on, which is a super, super interesting social concept that I just want to geek out about for a second. So this was a concept made by Robin Dunbar, who was observing different social groups of primates and comparing that to social groups of humans, I suppose, as a type of primate. And his theory was that the amount of social ties that a person could be kind of consciously aware of or consciously maintain was about 150. A little bit more for some individuals, a little bit less for other individuals, depending on their temperament, right? But it's generally considered to be 150. And I think this is so interesting because I think we know this is true, as in, like, we know there's a limited number to how far you can actually stretch your in-group, you know, your friendships, your close relationships. And at the same time, so many parts of modern society, they put us in groups that are much, much bigger than that 150 number, whether that is a crowd at the G or whether that is, you know, the business they might work for. The business I work for is much bigger than Dunbar's number. And our brains just aren't really equipped to handle that. I mean, it's going to take another million years of evolution for our brains to really be able to catch up with that and deal with that properly. And I think what we tend to do is we tend to subdivide groups that we're a part of that are large further, you know, because we just can't handle that many people. So I'm talking about playing dumb with Dunbar's number, thinking OxyContin is only for when we feel foxy with those in our proxy. I'm talking about that ability to bisect groups even further, for better or worse, and to say, well, I only have a few limited resources. I can only use this for the people who are most important to me. I'm not blaming anyone for doing this, by the way, because Dunbar's number seems to be a real thing. But it can get us in trouble. It can make us kind of siloed and ghettoed and, I guess, tribal in a way that's not so positive. And that's really when I transition the piece into this thing of, one of the great things people can do is give blood. And I talk about a blood drive for the oxygen thieves and have a bit of a laugh there. And, I say that term or other words that we use are like little chisels carving us into them, little ways of othering. I think in order to other someone, you have to generalize. I don't think we really other people that we really know the similarities between us and them. And if you could really sum up this piece in 2 lines, it's the part where I say, sometimes us is Doctors Without Borders and sometimes us is Auschwitz. You think about one of the most horrific things in history, and you think about one of the great organisations that have done so much good, and you compare and contrast those and you go, they're both formed communally. They're both groups of people acting. I'm not name-dropping individual people and saying this person's the best, this person's the worst. I'm talking about group think for good and for ill. Again, I think we have both those potentials swimming inside of us. And that duality is always super interesting to me. And I think we'd do well to, take stock of the communities that we're a part of and be like, is this good for the world? Is this good not just for the in-group? Are we just for ourselves? Or is there something more that we kind of point to and that we work together for? And then in the final part of the piece, I'm really lamenting, I guess, changes that I've experienced in my life that I know a lot of people do, which is just a bit of a breakdown of communities and friendships. And these have occurred due to a lot of moving around on my part. These have occurred due to people entering life stages at a different time to me, having kids and things like that. And yeah, I grieve that. I know that this happens for a lot of people, particularly in their 30s, like I am. So I talk about really missing having those deep ties, having people's backs, people having my heart, all these metaphors that we use when we say we're close to other people. Like a lot of people who live in Melbourne, I still feel like in one way I'm reeling from the lockdowns that we went through and having to remind myself that I'm not in some self-imposed lockdown anymore, that the world is actually back open and ready to explore and people are generally, kind and accepting. But I can be suspicious of people. I can be standoffish. I can put on a front, and that is very much a defense mechanism. That is very much me thinking people won't like me or thinking that I have to prove that I'm intelligent or that I can achieve things or that I'm different and whatever. All the things we do which are kind of just keeping people at arm's length. I just want to be a person. I mentioned in one of my earlier poems that I don't want to have power differentials in my relationships. I know I just said I just want to be a person. That's not 100% truthful. I want to be a person and I also want to be special. So again, the duality that we're all perhaps dealing with. But if the lines on your hands point true north, if your brailled face reads figuring it out, maybe we can share a slice of life. I really just end the piece saying that I just want to be around genuine people and people that I can be genuine around. And I want to discover that we're the same, that whatever tribes and whatever Dunbar number groups I've built in my mind are just constructs and that we really are the same. As the Goo Goo Dolls say,
I want you to love me. I want you to know I'm just like you.
Yeah, so that really sums it up. It's a piece about people. It's about human nature. It's about the longing for connection. I mean, these are things that I've explored before and I'll probably continue to explore. But it was really cool that I was able to kind of birth this from just a little bit of fun on the PlayStation. So I hope you enjoyed the piece. If you've been begging to hear it again, well, here it is again. They say teamwork makes the dream work. And DreamWorks made Shrek, so I guess there's more than one layer to that one. There's no I in team, but there is te amo. We're a different caliber, so I'm keeping love in the chamber for anyone who steps to us. Us. It's the biggest team there is. Your birth was your hazing, first cries like September at the G. 8 billion of us, and we're still playing dumb with Dunbar's number, thinking OxyContin is only for when we feel foxy with those in our proxy. Together, everyone achieves more, rolls up their sleeves, a blood drive for the oxygen thieves. Little jokes, little monikers, little chisels carving us into them. Sometimes us is Doctors Without Borders. Sometimes us is Auschwitz. I miss us. I miss having people's backs, stacking these vertebraves like Acropolis columns. Now I lurk in apocalypse forums. I miss combo moves and combo meals and people having my heart. Why, aorta? You used to walk around outside of me like a one-up. Now I sum up being lured into the sewer of suspicion. My refuge of refuse. My quagmire. I will not be coaxed out of my shell-shocked seance by just anyone. But if the lines on your hands point true north, if your brailled face reads, figuring it out, maybe we can share a slice of life. There it is, signed, sealed, delivered for y'all. Thank you so much for listening. I really do hope you've enjoyed hearing a little bit more about my own work. If you did enjoy this little solo app, please leave a comment or a like or give it a share to another poetry-loving friend and share the love. Share the love beyond your Dunbar number group, if you like. There you go. It's wrapping it all up. All right, I'll see you in the next one.
Weetabix hands, what's that all about?